Hey everyone, welcome back to PR and Test Drive. Today we're going to take a look at the BMW 2 Series Coupé, specifically this 2025 M240i xDrive. In my opinion, this is the best bang for your buck M performance car. It is the smallest and the most affordable vehicle in the BMW lineup to feature the legendary B58 engine. For 2025, BMW has also given this 2 Series a bit of a minor update, so let's take a look around and go for a drive. Here in Canada, the 2025 M240i xDrive starts at about 63,000 Canadian dollars. However, this one right here, it is about as loaded as it gets, close to $80,000. Now, this has options like leather interior, carbon fiber trim pieces, parking assistant, Premium Enhanced package, M Sport Pro package, and even the M Enhanced Track package, which we'll get to in a little bit. But first, let's talk about the engine. Under the hood, as mentioned, is the infamous B58 engine. It is a 3-liter inline-6 turbocharged engine that features a twin-scroll turbocharger as well as a closed-deck engine block design. In this application, it produces 382 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. Power is routed through an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission to all 4 wheels. This M240i also has a limited slip differential in the back. In contrast to the M440i we tested last year, even though both of them use a B58 engine, this one doesn't have any mild hybrid systems. It also uses a slightly older version of the B58 engine, hence the slight difference in power figures. Oh, also, because this is equipped with the M Enhanced Track package, it also has an engine oil cooler. When it comes to looks, I still think I prefer the F22 design, and there's no doubt in my mind that the F87 looks better than the G87 M2. However, I actually quite like the look of this G42 front end. You still get these small kidney grills, and in my opinion, the design language isn't as over the top as some of the other BMWs. As standard, you get LED headlights, but this is upgraded with the Shadow Line adaptive LED headlights. In the middle here, in the grille, you get active shutters that open and closes depending on your engine cooling needs. In terms of colors, the Zandvoort Blue, which was previously exclusive to the M2, now is available on the M240i as a no-cost option. Over to the side, the M240i comes standard with 19-inch rims, M Sport brakes, McPherson strut in the front, and a multi-link setup in the rear. However, given that this has the M Enhanced Track package, you also get bigger front rotors, adaptive dampers, as well as wheel arch extensions and a different set of rims. Speaking of rims, you do get a couple new ones for the 2025 model year, so I'll throw them on the screen and you can check them out. In terms of tire width, 245 wide and 255 wide in the rear comes standard. However, this is on 18-inch winter wheels. Alright, over the rear of the car, a bit of a controversial design, and I do definitely still think it looks a bit weird. I think the taillights are a little bit out of place. Maybe it's a little too low, a little too wide, I don't know. I do think that it is growing on me in person. However, I still prefer the rear end of the M440i. Okay, the trunk, it doesn't spring open and you sort of have to manually lift it up, so something to note there. But in terms of trunk space, it's very usable and quite big for such a small car. You have more trunk space than the Supra, more trunk space than the Z, more trunk space than even the Mustang. If you want even more cargo space, you can also fold down the rear seats, which are 40-20-40 split, even better. Okay, before we jump into the front, I actually want to show you the back seats because it's actually pretty decent. Now, getting in is obviously a little bit of a struggle, but even then, it's not that difficult. Once you're settled in, headroom is pretty tight. I'm 5'9" for reference, and the seat in front is adjusted to my driving position. Headroom is, I'm pretty much touching the ceiling here, but in terms of leg room, I still have about 1.5 inches or 2 inches worth of knee room, which is quite surprising to me considering how small this car is. Now, in comparison to a Mustang, which is really the only competition that have rear seats, this feels like it has significantly more space, and that one feels significantly more cramped. Back here, you get a little cubby down here in the middle, armrest, as well as cup holders, and also air vents. Considering that this is a non-passenger friendly car, I did not expect to see rear air vents here, especially when considering the fact that the Civic, which is very much a passenger friendly vehicle, doesn't get rear air vents. Now, the front seats are where you'll find the bulk of the updates that BMW have made to this 2025 model year. You get a new flat bottom steering wheel, as well as new air vents and new ambient lighting design. The cabin here, there's actually quite a lot of plastic, but surprisingly it doesn't look all that cheap. Also, it has the $600 carbon fiber option, which is not all that expensive either, so in my books that makes up for everything. In terms of the tech, the 2 Series feature the BMW Curve display, which now runs on iDrive 8.5. As I mentioned in the 330 video, the system is snappy, the graphics are crisp, it has support for wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. It also has a pretty accurate voice assistant system. Alongside with that, you also get plenty of physical buttons down here, including that rotary knob for controls, which I really do like. No climate control physical buttons, but at this point I'm getting tired of complaining about that. As far as the rest of the equipment list goes, this M240i has a head-up display, Harman Kardon sound system, a sunroof, wireless charger, upgraded leather interior, memory seats, heated seats, as well as heated steering wheel. The M240i is the smallest car fitted with a B58 engine, and it sure as heck packs a punch. In the real world, it does 0 to 100 kilometers in less than 4 seconds and is faster than the M2 off the line thanks to the xDrive system. Let's do a quick launch here. Even on winter tires, it did not lose any grip off the line, and it is so fast. Whoa. And the soundtrack, oh man, it is beautiful. It is not as aggressive as the AMG soundtracks, nor is it as loud as the AMG exhaust, but the tone, oh, it's beautiful, it's exquisite. It's so smooth too. The transmission on this M240i is a ZF 8-speed automatic. In comfort mode, it is very, very smooth. You barely notice it shifting, but in sport mode, it is aggressive and snappy. Whoa, it's just so fast. It even feels faster than the M240i we tested a while back. Maybe just without the mild hybrid system, everything is a little bit more direct. I really need to test them back to back to figure out really which one is faster. Oh man. Either way, this transmission is, if not the best, one of the best in the business. As for steering and handling, there still isn't all that much feel, but I do think they've improved it. However, even then, I still feel like I want a little bit more road feedback. But feeling aside, the turn-ins are sharp, and the chassis dynamic feels very, very playful. As you can see, back then, with a couple of turns, it's, a little bit tail happy when you want it to be. But if you don't want it to be tail happy, if you don't want it to, oversteer, all other times it feels very, very planted and also very agile. If you're wondering if this car is light because it's such a small car, it really isn't all that light because the curb weight of this M240i is over 1,700 kilos. However, perhaps because the wheelbase is pretty short, the handling on this is excellent. As for braking, perhaps one of the benefits of not having a mild hybrid system is that it feels very linear and natural, and the brake pedal feels really good. The extra size in terms of the brake rotors with the M Enhanced package would probably also give you less brake fade, but in winter on the street here, I don't really notice a difference. In terms of the suspension, this M240i is equipped with adaptive dampers, and I'm happy to report that I do indeed feel a difference between sport and comfort mode. The ride quality is, as you'd expect, on the firmer side, but the damping is great. It's done very well. It is very apparent jumping from a GLC 43 into this one because that car has really stiff damping. In regards to fuel economy, this M240i did not perform as good as the M440i we tested last year, but considering it's in the middle of winter, it still returned a commendable 7 liters or so per 100 kilometers on the highway. In the city, it's worse, especially if you drive it like you're supposed to with this car. I've been able to manage 9 to 10 liters per 100 kilometers, but if you drive it spiritedly, that's way more. One other thing to make note of is that the 2 Series only has a 52-liter gas tank, so you'll be visiting the gas station pretty frequently. In terms of safety technologies, the 2 Series comes standard with blind spot warning, emergency braking, lane departure, as well as parking sensors. But this tester also has 360 camera, parking assistant, as well as adaptive cruise control. Something to note, however, is that lane centering is not available at all on the 2 Series. So if you want that feature, you have to go up to the 3 Series or the 4 Series. Oof. All right, to wrap up, I know that the G42 2 Series isn't the best looking thing out there, but over the course of the past week, I've completely looked past that because the car is just so good. From the engineering to the emotions to even the price point. Okay, maybe you don't get a fully loaded M240i, but this has such a good price to performance ratio. It's kind of like going to McDonald's, getting some food, and it doesn't look particularly appetizing, but when you eat it, it's just good. It's just delicious. That's kind of how it feels. I know it's a weird analogy, but hopefully you get the point. It is fast and fun when in sport mode, and it's also comfy and livable when in normal mode. Personally, I'd take this over the Mustang GT, I'd take this over the M440i. I haven't tested the M2 yet, but the fact that that is only rear-wheel drive and I live in Canada, I'm already leaning towards this M240i instead. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this M240i, what other vehicles you're considering in this price point and category. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.